Welcome to the Galloway and Isabel podcast. My name is Thomas Galloway. To my right,
Noah Galloway.
And with us on Zoom,
Evan Isabel.
All right, so this is the first Zoom podcast we've done. We're going to see how this goes, see if the people like it. If it's not working, it's just not working, but it should be good. And we only have, since we don't have like 5 or 10 people on here, it shouldn't be a big deal, it shouldn't be like an issue as far as communicating. So we'll see how this goes. We're going to continue with some of the content we have from the last podcast, answering Reddit's Am I the A-hole posts. We have some lined up. And then near the end of the podcast, we have some college advice. So Reddit also has a page where people ask for advice on various college related things. So we have a few of those questions. So are you guys just ready to get started here with some of these?
Let's do it.
Okay, so here's the first one. Am I the a-hole for kicking some kids out of my driveway? This is the very first one on the document. I live in a fairly secluded area of a large estate. It's not a council estate, but it's not a private either. My road has 4 houses on it, and it isn't visible on Google Maps at all since it's a new build. Since so few people live here, lots of families nearby decide to come on the road and ride bikes or whatever. This annoys me as I spend a lot of time in my bedroom, which is at the front of the house. And I feel like it's not their space to be in, and also is dangerous because even though not many cars come in and out, when they do, you have a pretty low chance of not getting hit. The other day, I was in my room studying, home alone, when these 2 kids came out. I have no idea who they were, but they were being loud. After closing my window and doing whatever I could to shut out the noise, I could still hear them. So I went outside and basically shouted at them to shut the F up. I have autism and ADHD, so I don't know if it was something to do with that, but I was fairly angry. They left, and when I told some of my friends over text, some of whom say I'm the a-hole. I just wanted to confirm whether that's true or not.
Yeah, he's the a-hole.
A-hole, yeah.
So right, I just want to bring up something. What if he could have just gone outside and asked them to be quiet or something? They can still play and just kind of do stuff outside. Yeah. It's just could have done that first and then gone back in, and then if there's still a problem, he could have gone back out. And considering there's only 4 houses out there, I mean, I don't know, but he's still,
you don't want to burn your bridges before you even meet the families,
right?
Yeah, and I mean, he's living in an area that seems like it's fairly wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, what kind of sound is this, and what kind of is his window wide open all the time? What kind of is a little suspicious, that he could easily be annoyed all the time by this. And it does seem like he went pretty quickly. It escalated fairly quickly. I mean, obviously, with autism and ADHD, this is a bit sensitive, but you could still be an a-hole.
Right.
I mean,
unfortunately, unfortunately, if you have that, those problems, people are still going to view you as it's not really an excuse, it sucks, but you can't just go out and tell kids to shut the F up, you can't just, I mean, you can do that. That's something you can do.
But then you're on Reddit. You're on Reddit and you're the a-hole. Yeah. I mean, he talks about being only 4 houses here. And I mean, if it's closer to other developments or communities where there might be houses, people walk, if you want to walk, you walk from your house and you walk around the streets and stuff, and you might end up in another area pretty easily. And so it's probably not super common. And then he's talking about that people, he seems a little delusional, cars could hit people, the cars that are coming to these 4 houses all the time could hit people. And he's a little, I mean,
he's making excuses, you know what I mean? It's none of his business how dangerous it is. His only concern should be if it's loud or not.
Right,
even if it's loud, if it's during the daytime hours, it doesn't really matter. If it's during quiet hours, you can look up if your area has quiet hour rules, but it's none of his business. People mow their lawn, you're not going to yell at them for being loud, so.
Right. Also, if it's wealthy, he probably has a few more bedrooms he can go to.
Yeah.
Just other areas. Yeah.
Right. And obviously, Bose canceling headphones, they make beautiful earplugs. I mean, I feel like there's so many things. He just like went to complete a-hole right away.
Yeah, and then going from like instead of just being like, "Hey guys, can you keep it down" or something, or like ask, did he? He didn't. It didn't say in there if he asked or anything, did he?
No,
He
he
did.
just
went.
yeah, he like did whatever he could to shut out the noise. Yeah, he escalated pretty quickly with it. I mean, he went pretty much straight telling them to shut the F up.
I think that's like pretty common with people. It's like instead of getting straight to the point and being like, "Hey guys, can you keep it down?" and then be like, "Hey guys, seriously, you need to keep it down." A lot of times people like just like let it build up inside and then just like
Right.
blow up instead of like confronting it right away.
Definitely. It's kind of like the version, that's my opinion, has always been on conflict, that you should get it out of the way immediately in a kind of straightforward but not overly aggressive manner like you're talking about. Because if you don't, then worst case scenario, you eventually blow up on people. But what's most likely to happen is you're just going to kind of like fester with it and think of all the things you could have said in the argument or think of all the things you could have done. It's going to bother you like for the rest of the day when you could just have a little bit of conflict, got out of the way and just moved on,
Exactly. And then like if things do get to the point where like you've told them once, you've told them twice, you told them 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, even if it builds up, but when you get to this point where you blow up, at least you can go back and say, "Hey, I told them like 5 times and they keep doing it." Instead of this guy, it's like you never told them before. It never like said like, "Hey guys," it wasn't like a repeat, situation. It was just like you blew up.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little too fast. Well, the Bose canceling headphones, noise canceling headphones leads us nicely into this next one. Am I the a-hole for asking my sister to try and be less noisy? My 18-year-old sister, no, I am an 18-year-old. My 16-year-old sister has endometriosis and often has really bad periods. And normally I don't mind her groaning, but college finals are starting to make me more stressed and the noise is starting to get on my nerves. I have really sensitive ears, so I always hated earbuds, headphones, and earplugs. That's a long list. And the likes, and sometimes they even give me headaches. I think he's talking about earbuds, headphones, and earplugs.
Not the groaning.
Not the groaning. This is still just those things. Yeah, that's rough.
So the headphones worse than the groaning.
Well, that's a good point. Yesterday, I asked her if she could try and be a little less loud, and she got pissed and asked if she thinks I'm trying to annoy her on purpose. I told her that I didn't think that and that I never would, but it's messing around with my focus. She said that my focus is something I can't control through other factors, but her pain levels is something she already takes meds for and can't do more, and told me to get out. I told her that if she's that self-centered, there's no point in arguing, and she started tearing up and screamed at me and told me to get out. Now
Get out of where? That's the thing. Like, is this older sister in her younger sister's room and being like, "Yo, can you shut up? I'm trying to study."
That's a good point. Now I think I may be an a-hole because she is in a lot of pain, and essentially telling her to suck it up makes me an a-hole. So am I the a-hole? Okay. I mean, I think she's pretty clearly the a-hole here. I mean, okay. Now, I don't really know what the situation is here. I mean, we're obviously all a little bit out of our element here with the period situation. But, I mean, obviously, it must be pretty painful. I don't know what, like, she's taking her meds, apparently, for it. But there's a lot of things the other girl could do. I mean, first of all, the earbud, headphone, earplug thing, that's a little, I mean, like, I get that certain products, like there's certain headphones that may give you a headache after long enough, but like earplugs, I've never really encountered someone who like a little piece of foam in your ear are just this like thing that can ruin your entire day.
Right.
Yeah. So she just doesn't want to put headphones in.
Basically, like gives her headaches. Apparently, she's hated everything.
Boo-hoo.
Apparently, and also, I mean, she's 18 years old. There's coffee shops. There's libraries.
Yeah.
If she's in school, I mean, I know it's COVID. So, okay, there's plenty of places you can go.
Yeah.
You don't have to be that close.
And it looks like endometriosis, like this thing that her sister has. It looks like it's pretty serious. Or not like super serious, but like it looks like it's not very comfortable looking from the picture that I'm looking at online. There's a lot of pictures of ovaries and stuff, and it's not very comfortable to look at anyway. But
Hey, what if the older sister bought the younger sister a pacifier? Like, would that help at all?
We
So
could do that.
it's been a long time since I've been a baby, but I just don't remember. I don't remember how those things work, and I don't remember like how effective pacifiers are. But I feel like that's a good move.
I
They're
think
probably
it's
pretty inexpensive too. It's not
Yeah. Like even if she did something like that, she's doing something proactive instead of just telling her sister to shut up. You know, like
yeah. I think that's the best option here.
mm,
I think we should write in something, tell her to look up adult pacifiers and see what happens.
yeah,
Um, yeah. Okay. This is something I forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast, but ideally, if someone were to say it's a bit lazy to go to Reddit for all our content, I would completely agree with them. So the goal here is eventually that our listeners would write in their own situations. And so we'll have our email up here right now for the people watching, but it's the Galloway and Isabel podcast, and the "and" is spelled out. And just send us any of your situations, and we'll of course make you completely anonymous for the podcast, if that's something you prefer. Or if you'd like to have your name out there because say your friend thinks you're the a-hole and you want your name cleared, we are happy to do that as well.
oh yeah.
And so
You're gonna get an email that's like, this guy, like his name is Broa Galloway, and he thought it was cool to move all the way to Colorado, and he thinks he's better than me because he's in Colorado.
am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole?
All right, I have a quick story at the gym. So
Okay.
I
Nice.
was in a sauna, and so someone was also in a sauna, and then there's a few other people, and this person was standing right in front of the door. He had his Bose noise canceling headphones on. He was facing outwards, looking outside the door, and then he had his phone on like the door handle and his water. And so people were trying to get out, but he was kind of in the way. And so someone walked past him and he just like jumps because he like can't hear anything. And so that's pretty obviously an a-hole move. I just thought it was a funny story.
Yeah, that is funny. It sounds like
Unfair.
someone like attention seeking. Like I'm
Yeah,
gonna stand here in front of the door and see what happens.
It's like the
right.
craziest thing ever. Yeah. And there's like one entrance, and like he's literally putting his belongings on the handle.
Right.
Jeez.
Wow. That's an easy one. Yeah. Okay. So I think our verdict on this is that the author is the a-hole.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'd be interested to hear from our female friends out there what their opinions on this are. I'm assuming they'd be in the same situation, or they'd come to the same conclusion, but we're curious. Okay, I think that one's a good one. Okay, let me find. Okay. Am I the a-hole for throwing dog poo into my neighbor's driveway? And this is like the fifth or the sixth one. I live in a relatively small town on the outskirts of a bigger city, and mostly everyone knows everyone. We have always gotten along with our neighbors who live across from us, but since they have gotten a dog 15 years ago, that's changed because of some personal reasons. So they've lived here a while, like it's
Yeah.
15 years ago. And if this, I mean, they've put up with this, what we're about to read, for a long time. Because of some personal reasons, I moved to the city 15 years ago, and my grandparents were living in our house. 3 years ago, I moved back into my childhood home, and I've noticed that our relationship with our neighbors has changed. They have a little kid who is around 5 years old, and their dog is really old now, as expected. Anyways, since I've been in the city, they've taught their dog to do his business in our yard, and because we have gates, they always open them to let him in.
What?
I know. This is because they didn't want their child to touch his poo. So the situation we have here, the family doesn't want to let the dog poo in their own yard, because their child will touch the dog's poo. So that they just send the dog to the neighbors. That's a bold move. Okay, my granddad has talked to them a few times about it, and they haven't done anything to change it. Also, my dog gets stressed that someone is in our yard. One day, I saw the dog come in and poo. I grabbed a bag for the poo, and I emptied it on their driveway.
That's fine.
It's
I think
100% fine.
fair
it's a
response.
reasonable response.
It's
Yeah,
not like they grabbed the poo and just smeared it on someone of the other family.
that's true.
Yeah. Dude,
Okay,
there's like
so go ahead.
there's neighborhoods where it's like if you like you'll get the cops called on you if you're walking your dog around, letting your dog poop everywhere. Like that's not acceptable behavior.
I know, I know. I would say like they are not the a-hole. There is a step in between these two that involves like talking to them. But does it say anything about that?
It says that the
Oh,
grandpa was
that's
talking to him, right?
okay. Oh well, then that's reasonable. I mean, that's an absurd thing to do to think that
Yeah,
just because your kid doesn't want to, you don't want your kid to touch it. I mean, I get that
that's
feeling,
that's
but
pretty ballsy though to like say, "Hey, I don't want my kid to touch this poo, so we're gonna let it poop in your yard, and you take care of it." You know?
that's very ballsy. Okay, that one's mostly just funny. I don't think there's a whole lot of debate there. Yeah, like we kind of talked about. Okay. All right, here we kind of have a longer one, but hopefully it's a little more of a, up in the air, some kind of debate here. I don't know. We'll see. Am I the a-hole for excluding my sister from her son's wedding celebration? I come from a large family, so I was blessed with a lot of nieces and nephews. My husband and I never had children, so we became quite close with many of them. The youngest group are all young adults now, and since last year, 4 of my nephews have eloped or gotten married to their girlfriends. None of us have gotten together with our extended family since March of last year. Landon announced that he got eloped with his fiance in February of last year. We had offered to host a celebration for them at our home so that our family could welcome her. They wound up postponing their celebration 3 times. From that time until now, 3 of our nephews have gotten married. So there's really nothing that like necessary so far. Brad just announced his engagement last week. They decided to have a small wedding like the others, but talked about getting together with all of us and catch up and reconnect. Okay, actually, I read this. Basically, they have 2 people who want to have like wedding celebrations, 2 separate couples, and they're just going to combine the 2 since they're all family.
Mhm.
And the time that they decide is Labor Day, and that does not work for one of the groom's mothers. And she just can't make it to her son's wedding celebration.
Yeah, but it's just a celebration, right?
Yeah. Is that different from,
Like a wedding.
okay,
Isn't that different than a wedding?
I don't think,
A
I don't,
wedding celebration.
Celebration wedding.
I mean, it is separate, it seems like, but it doesn't say anything about the Brad whose mom can't make it. It doesn't say anything about him having an actual wedding. And her reason for not making it so the mom could attend is because the mom travels a lot for work and she gave her some vague availability for the next year or so, or next 6 months.
I don't know.
And so I feel like, I mean, it does seem like this wedding celebration is pretty important to people. And it seems like the main character here, the author, just asked the mother of one of the grooms just once what her availability was. And because she wasn't super clear with it, she eliminated her from the entire wedding celebration and made it impossible for her to show up.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things that's like way too complicated to come to a solve. Like you'd have to know a lot more.
Yeah, and like the main character here, if she asked initially what worked for the mother of the groom, and she gave this poor response or kind of not super clear, and then the main character immediately planned this wedding celebration and just like we're just going to do it and see what happens, then I would say that kind of makes her an a-hole.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. But if she throughout the time between asking initially and planning, if she asked multiple times what would work, if there were other times of work and tried to make it work with her, then she'd not. But
or if the mom was just being like super annoying, like, hey, when are you going to be available? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And then just like that was like her only response, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that would be a problem. If so, I think so, but she doesn't say anything about working with the mother throughout this time period. And I think and she's trying to make herself look probably as least a-holy as possible, she would have
Yeah.
put that in there if she had tried. So in my mind, she went straight from asking about availability. What she got was a quote, very confusing schedule that was hard to understand. And yeah, it was just vague. So she asked that. And then I think she basically goes pretty much straight to planning this date on Labor Day and this joint celebration between the two married couples. And so, given the fact that she could have put more positive information if she wanted to, and probably would have if it existed, I'm coming down with the verdict of a-hole.
She's probably the a-hole. Yeah.
I agree.
Leaning towards
Yeah.
a-hole.
That's the thing. It's like when you plan one of those things, if you're not like directly connected, like if you're not the person getting married, if you're not like, I feel like you're always gonna end up pissing someone off.
That's definitely true. Yeah. She yeah, in this case, and say this mom of the groom really does like do a poor job of laying out her availability. And just like she travels all the time, she's hard to like figure out a time that it works. Then I get it. That'd be kind of a pain. But I don't know. That is a tough one. I'm give based on information given. Go a-hole, but it's a tough one. Okay, I have like let's try to find one more, and then we could do a couple of the college advice ones. Okay, what do we have? Okay, let's do this one here. Am I the a-hole for expecting my husband to give up time on his only day off? My husband, 40 years old, and I, 35 years old, have both dug in our heels, so sure that we are right and the other is wrong. We need a third party perspective on this. I work a high stress, at least 40-hour a week job with very little manual labor, but a lot of frantic, it's on me to get this done now moments. Hubby works a physically demanding job, mostly outside, that taxes the body but not the mind. Okay, a little assumption there.
Yeah.
He was working part-time, 6-hour days, 4 days a week, but was recently promoted and now works 8 to 10-hour days, 6 days a week. He wants to lead by example, so sets a grueling pace for himself as far as physical labor goes. That started about 3 weeks ago, and he's still getting used to the new routine. He gets off of work utterly exhausted, sometimes barely able to walk. So I think it's important. Only 3 weeks ago, he's only been doing this routine for 3 weeks ago, and so it hasn't taken long for her to come to a point where she needs to ask Reddit, write a novel.
That was pretty quick.
Yeah. I have taken on all the household chores so far. I would say not looking great for her. Just in general tone. I have taken on all of the household chores at this time, as well as providing meals and running all errands. I'm hoping things will settle down and he'll find a good rhythm that won't leave him completely drained. But for now, I'm willing to sacrifice to give him time to adjust. A little better. The issue is we're in the middle of buying a house and it completely consumes what little free time I have. The market is terrible in our area, so we are trying to buy property and build a home. This is a lot of work coordinating between the loan officer. Another misspelling, not that really means a ton, but still interesting. Between the loan officer.
Which one? Coordinating or
just maybe it's a typo. She just misspells it.
Coordinatung? Is that not how you spell coordinating? With a U?
Between the loan officer, contractors, and realtor. He is barely involved, basically just looking at a few pictures and saying yes or no. Most days he is too tired to even do that. Neither of us has time during the work week to go look at properties or tour model homes. I want to spend a few hours on the weekend getting it done. He absolutely refuses to give up his day off. In other words, he thinks he deserves an entire day to do whatever he wants with absolutely zero obligations.
Absolutely.
This is kind of the point of the day off.
Yeah.
I pointed out that I don't get a day off since I always have more to do than time to do it. Okay, so I don't really know what that means. The fact that it doesn't say anything about kids here, whether or not they have kids doesn't really matter. If she has more to do than time to do it, you would just make your work week a little bit longer. I mean, she's at least 40 hours a week job, which means that it's probably majority of time 40 hours a week. Otherwise, she would have said something higher than that.
Yeah.
You can make that a 45-hour work week if you need to. I would say like that sentence doesn't make any sense. I pointed out that
maybe she's talking about how she spends more time and effort into finding a good house or working on like the house that they're building, and that's what she's talking about. But like,
yeah, I guess she's basically saying that she doesn't really have any free time between her job and the house situation, and that him insisting for a full day is selfish, which, could be the case. I guess we don't really know for sure.
yeah.
So far, it's hard to know. Okay. He claims that I have no idea how hard his job is, and I don't need a day off because I don't do physical labor. I don't know about that. I think they're both making a few too many assumptions here. I fire back that I am under constant stress, which is also exhausting, yet I still make time because this is important. I think he is an a-hole for just expecting me to do everything and refusing to be involved in the biggest decision of our lives. He thinks I'm an a-hole for trying to force him to do even more when he is already pushing himself to the brink. He wants me to set up everything for the house and have him just come in at the end for final approval. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for pushing him to give up a few hours on his only day off and wanting him to share in some of the burden? I just don't see how he deserves to have his job be the only thing he has to do and everything else should fall on me. Yeah, go for it.
So only day off out of those 3 weeks, or once a week?
Once a week.
I think it's from here forward. He only has one day off.
Okay, yeah. Now, for him, my first thought, the few hours each on his day off, I'd be a little suspicious of that. Like, I feel like that could easily turn into 6 or 7, or say 5 or 6. Which between maybe a little commute to get to this wherever they need to go, say the tour of maybe check out their house. Because when my parents were building a house, they would visit it fairly often to make sure everything was going to plan, because a lot of times it doesn't. And so it may be he's kind of like the NRA kind of does this thing where like they won't give any ground on certain weapons being banned, because like once they do, they're worried it'll like snowball into losing all guns. I feel like he's a little bit in that situation where he's like, I'm not giving up a few hours because next thing I know, it's the full, which I understand.
That's fair.
It's fair, but he has literally one day off, and it's like I had a 6-day week last week, and I only had one day off, and like halfway through that Sunday, I was like, tomorrow's Monday. Are you kidding me? Like Saturday and Sunday, it's the perfect amount of break. Like. Right. Even if you're doing your own thing, you're getting your stuff set up, it's enough time to work on whatever you got to work on and rest.
Yeah.
But like one day, it's a huge, for some reason, it's a huge difference. Like I could not do what this guy's doing, like working 6 days a week.
Yeah. And like, I completely get for his perspective, 3 weeks into it, it says he sometimes is barely able to walk when he comes home. I mean, he's still getting adjusted to it. Like for her to email this message this quickly. I don't know I don't think there's like a minimum amount of time before you start asking Reddit questions. But I feel like it's longer than 3 weeks. And, I know she's probably handled it for 3 weeks and she's pretty tired of all the home stuff, majority of the home stuff. I would say unless she really knows her husband super well and he's just like going to continue to not be involved in this process, I would probably give it at least a couple more weeks before she really starts being like, hey, come on, dude, we need to do something. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
Do you think he just is too tired, or he doesn't even care about what the house looks like? Because I feel like definite distinguishing. And he should honestly by that if that's the reason he doesn't want to do it. Because if he's like, it seems a little strange that he's too tired to just sit and look at pictures. I don't know.
That's true.
But
it is a good point. Okay, so also my thought here is like, say the timeline before the last 3 weeks, say that he didn't really want to build a home. Okay, she also adds this edit at the end. Based on the comments she's been seeing, she adds a few things. We cannot delay buying a home. Our landlord passed away and the new owners are trying to sell. We cannot afford to buy the house we are in, and we cannot find a rental that will allow our dogs. I'm checking for a rental every day as well, but there hasn't been a single option.
So the thing that stuck out to me right there was that they cannot afford. So it sounds to me like he's working another extra 2 days because he's working 6 days a week now, right? Is that what
Yep.
it said?
Yeah.
So he went from working 4 days a week, 6 hours a day, to working almost 60 hours a week and having one day off so that they can afford to, like, he's putting in an extra 2, 4, 6, 8 plus, almost 14 hours during the week so that they can afford it. That's what it sounds like, if they can't afford it. And then, she can put in that extra effort on her free time to, get everything set up.
Yeah. I know. And the thing about, I don't know. Okay. So this is a question for people who know more about buying homes. Is it normal to go from, she says, the market, what's the market thing about the homes and stuff?
I don't know. The whole thing with the market is like, when was this posted? Because
I'm not sure.
if it was like this year, it's like it's not just her area, like the entire United States home prices are going up like crazy. So that's what it was like.
Yeah, I know that's definitely true. It was, I think, in the last day because these are all pretty new. So okay, the market is terrible in our area, so we're trying to buy property and build a home. I don't know what that means. So for people who buy homes, is it normal if the homes in your area, like, is this a normal thing people do that if there's like no homes, you just immediately start building a home? There's no homes available to buy. Are they building one that's like cheaper than all the homes that are available in their area? Is that what they're doing? I'm just
I don't
looking
know, man.
on the steps there because like that I mean, I don't know what else is that I don't know what else there could be because like if they look at all the options, say they're all way too expensive, so we're just gonna build a cheaper version. Otherwise, why would you even buy? And like the rental, the thing, I'm checking for a rental every day as well, but there hasn't been a single option, or assuming there hadn't been a single option before they start building their house, because now there's not really any point. That's a little weird too. I'm like kind of shocked by that. There's not at least something. I know they have at least multiple. They have multiple dogs, so that could be an issue.
That sounds like maybe the root of their stress is that if they didn't have these, like, I love dogs and stuff, but a lot of people, it's like, so you got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
And then you can take care of someone else. Like, it sounds like these people, they don't have a home. Yeah. But they took on a dog, and dogs. They knew that maybe they can't afford rent in the area without this one landlord. It's like, that sounds like the root of your problem.
Situation. They don't mention kids, and I'm guessing they don't have any. And that makes sense to me. Probably should.
Yeah, if you can't take care of a dog. That's why I got my plants. I'm doing a little test run. I'm going to do plants first and then get a kid.
I like it.
I got to be able to, if I can't take care of a plant, I can't take care of a kid. So I got this one.
Yeah.
This one's
I forgot.
This one's Paul.
Okay.
Nice.
Love it.
And then this one's Little Buddy.
Little Buddy.
All right, there we go.
I have to make sure, is it Lil or Little?
Lil Lil, like Lil Pump or Lil Peep or like
Lil Uzi.
Lil Uzi Vert. And then I got this vase.
There you go, dude. All right, you're ready to go. I mean, if you can take care of those three things, I think you might be ready for a child.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure this one stays healthy as a vase.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't drop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's a pretty good one. I think so. I want to try to find more wedding ones because those are always really spicy. Those get.
The weddings get spicy.
Yeah, we're pretty much good on those. We each have a couple of college advice ones. We could just go through a couple of these and see if we can get some advice for these people. And also, this is similar to the Am I the A-hole ones, a request from our audience. Similar thing for the college advice. Please feel free to email into thegallowayandisabelpodcast@gmail.com, and is spelled out. And send us anything if you have any problems with college or just life in general. But we've been through college. Noah's almost done. Evan and I have been through college. We can provide a little insight into this, and we might have some good advice for you guys. And yeah, so just shoot us if you have any college issues on classes or relationships or whatever it is, living situations, just shoot us your questions and we'll keep you anonymous and read them out. Or once again, if we'll keep you anonymous unless you specifically request to be made
Anonymous.
Anonymous. uh, if so, once again, I don't really know. For college advice, you may not really have any reason to go anonymous or anonymous. But for Am I the A-hole, there's obviously good reasons. Like, yeah, you may be getting in a fight with someone, and you want 3 people who are very experienced in dropping
Human
down.
interaction.
Yeah. To provide a verdict for you guys, and hopefully, that's kind of what we're here. We could be like a mediator or a judge of sorts, that we can solve your issues, all of them, every single one of them,
every problem without fail,
immediately. Not even there won't even be a 2-week lapse,
with supreme knowledge.
Yeah. And I mean,
and
like,
accuracy.
We offer a wide variety of perspectives, as long as you're white and male and in your 20s.
And in your 20s.
Yeah.
Living in 2021.
Yeah. As long as you fall into that, So anyway.
If you're in the Midwest.
Yeah, Midwest. Yeah, okay. So first question. This is a pretty general one. For note-taking in class, how do college students suggest is bringing a laptop to class common? Like, for what class is writing physical notes better? What class is it better to have a laptop? Should you always bring your laptop to class? Does note-taking on an iPad make a difference? Okay.
I would say for language classes, writing on a piece of paper is better. For some reason, like, you're doing like a lot of memory.
Yeah.
And like maybe I'm not sure, but like anytime I had to memorize something, like in a, like just get a word memorized in my brain, writing it down and then looking at my handwriting and saying it out loud, that always helped better than typing. But then other stuff, like there's a lot of other classes that I feel like it would be more advantageous to just have it on like the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely like stats or math classes, definitely physical paper. Also, in psychology, I've heard that if you write like the definition in your own words, then it's going to be easier to recall, just because you're already kind of thinking that way, I guess. I don't know the science exactly, but writing notes in your own words is often better, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of studies that say that handwriting is better. But for me, if it's a class where there's a lot of information thrown at you and you need to at least get it all down and then you can kind of go through it later, you don't need to know it. Like, you don't need to understand it super well as it's coming to you, but you need to at least get it down so you can look through it later. Then a laptop is super helpful. And I would also say that, it's asked if you should bring your laptop to class always. Like, I don't really think there's any downside. I have heard some classes don't allow laptops. I think I had a class like that too.
Yeah.
But it's like, I would always bring it, like, at least in the backpack.
Yeah. And then, does note taking on an iPad make a difference? That's where get one of these guys and Bluetooth that up to your iPad, and then you'll be golden. There's something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, it's like, I mean, you might retain things better based on the studies when you write it down, but that's not really super helpful if you miss a lot of information.
Right.
And like, so it depends. It depends a lot on the class, like we all have said. Like, I used like a lot in the last podcast. I was really annoyed with myself, but that's
what you do. Like, when you're trying to think of what you're going to say, like, that's what you say. Like,
that's what you say. Like,
also, there's a technique in psychology for preparing for exams. So you just basically pick an area like a park or something that you're super familiar with. And then you kind of go through the park in your mind and attach definitions to objects or like landmarks or something. And then when it comes to test time, you just kind of take a walk through the park and just check out the trees and then kind of recall.
Dude, totally. Yeah, like it's like your recall. Dude, like, you'll be like, that's why you go through the test once. Like, you go through and answer as many questions as you can, the easy questions. And then like read the questions and then don't even worry about it. Just skip it if you can't get it right away and then come back to it, because it's like your brain will like remember it on its own. So, like half the time for me, like I'll be like when I'm thinking of somebody's name, I just like, all right, what's their name? I'm like, I can't think of their name, and then I'm just like, all right, relax, just relax and like think of who's their family members, who's their friends, and then like if I find, dude,
Thomas.
honestly, like yeah, like if I'm thinking of like what's Noah's brother's name? Noah, Tommy Noah. Okay, yeah.
And then you got
Or like flavors, like if you chew gum, like if you chew like a mint gum while you study and then you chew it while you take a test. I don't know. I've heard that helps.
yeah, I've heard that too. The one thing so for some of our exams, like when we're in class, they like give out earplugs to wear. And then I was like, well, I wonder if since I wear earplugs occasionally to go to sleep, like in very specific, like rarely, but if there's like someone like, I don't know, if you're like camping or something, then I'd be like, oh, am I going to fall asleep in my exam? Same thing, kind of like the main gum, but it didn't happen. So we're all good.
It didn't, yeah.
Why do I keep forgetting things I was going to say? I was going to say something. Well, by the way, Evan, your lighting is looking really good over there.
Thanks, bro. I got this
yeah, dude.
This lamp and then a natural window right here.
Really good, dude. We're looking like kind of like lobsters over here a little bit.
Nah.
You're good. We're good. We're beautiful. I forgot what I was going to say again, but whatever.
Also, I want to give a quick shout out to myself because I wrote an article for the Iowa State Daily. It's about multiple choice tests and how they're basically created to make it easy to grade and everything. And I guess some research has been done and they don't think that's super effective for learning. And they think they just do it just because it's easy for the professors when they have lecture halls. And so if you guys want to type in Iowa State Daily, Noah Galloway, you can read a great article about it.
Let's go.
So check it out.
Oh, dude, the laziest teachers I've ever had always do multiple choice.
Yeah.
And it's like so stupid because it'll be like the two questions, like the two answers are so obviously not the right one. And then there's one that's like kind of obviously not the right one. And then the right one's like a paragraph and you're like, duh.
Right.
Yeah, that's another tip. I don't know if people have come across this, but like I didn't know this for a long time, but if you are struggling between two, just pick whichever one has a longer answer.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, maybe at this point, a lot of teachers have learned that, but I can tell you, I feel like a lot have not.
I remember. Yeah, a lot of teachers, not all teachers, but a lot of teachers are just doing it for the paycheck.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know if all of them care that much.
Yeah.
Well, so a lot, not to lie, a lot of teachers do care, but
yeah, because I think this happens a lot with a lot of professions, but if you do happen to criticize a certain group of that profession, then the other group that's doing it for better reasons gets all pissy about it. You're like, well, it's not all teachers, like, especially for high school, this is an absolute fact that you can basically do little to nothing as a high school teacher and get your paycheck. And you can also do a lot. Like you can work really, really hard as a high school teacher if you want to. If you give out rigorous assignments that are writing assignments, you have to grade them all, and you put a lot of effort into it, then yes, like we are not criticizing you at all. And then there's the ones who basically do nothing. And I think that's a case with a lot of professions, but especially ones like that where there's a potentially for a wide variety in how hard people can work and get
exactly.
So like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. So everybody needs to just simmer down a little bit, and we're not criticizing the good teachers out there. Not in this situation, but just in general, like that happens. Okay, so let's do one more here. Boyfriend plus college problems, : / which is a like a frowny face kind of. Like or a saddish face. Yeah, it's like I don't even know how to do it. Yeah. Hi guys, I'm a junior. This is a high school, so I'm obviously thinking about college next year. Obviously, with this comes the question about if my relationship will stick through college. It's not just a short-term relationship though, which brings a problem. We've been dating since right before freshman year, and we plan to go to college together. So they've been together, over 3 years. I mean, you guys haven't even made it through your senior year yet. However, I have better grades and a much better ACT score than him at the moment. And that scares me because I'm looking at top public colleges such as Michigan, Rice, USC, etc. Not only am I scared we won't be able to go to the same college, but I've always wanted to join a sorority since middle school. And I obviously couldn't do that if I lived with him. I always thought I would never have to make this decision, but the length of the relationship and the amount of love I have for him has changed a lot for me. Anyways, this is the second time we've seen anyways. Do you think it's anyway or anyways, Evan? Like just in general, do you say anyway or anyways?
I don't think I've ever said anyways.
Anyway.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I anyway, whatever. Please offer any advice you have. I'll reply as much as I remember to, but this is a throwaway in case he ever looks at my normal Reddit account.
Oh.
Okay, good. Right there. It's like if you can't have this conversation with your boyfriend straight up, you know, maybe it's not the right.
Does he not know that she has a better ACT score?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing here that like
I just
like if you're already
go ahead. I just don't know what she means by I always thought have the amount of love I have for him has changed a lot for me. Like, what does she mean by change a lot for me? Like for better or just like stale or I don't know.
Or maybe she's like a junior in high school and they've only been dating for 2 years. I don't need to trash on them, but they are in high school.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's like, this is kind of crazy. I mean, well, she could still, I think a lot of sororities, the first year, they don't actually live in the house. So that's not really, but in the food beyond that could be an issue.
What if he just found a different college in Michigan or something? Or it's just hard to say how much they actually like each other. So
I mean, it sounds like if she's hiding this from him, you know, like, is that really?
Yeah, they don't really seem like they're capable yet of having the conversation they need to have.
Yeah.
And I would recommend to her to not try to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't
just like follow your dreams, or don't follow your dreams, but like find, you know, like you're gonna find a better living situation of that nice college, you know, find something that's good.
Yeah, I would just say do what you want and see what happens. Yeah, you're welcome, girl.
Problem solved.
Yeah, like we said 10 minutes ago. Okay, you have nothing.
Easy. Look how easy it was. Like people are complaining all the time about their life problems. We got the answers right here.
Yeah, quit your job, build a house. Okay. Okay. Should we just do one more here?
Let's do it.
Should I switch majors? I'm a sophomore at my college in robotics / mechatronics. I don't know. Sorry, guy.
Let me see.
Mechanical. I don't know.
It's like mechatronics.
Mechatronics, yeah.
Mechatronics.
Mechatronics engineering.
I mostly picked the major because of my parents. I've been struggling with this, not a great sign. I've been struggling with this major as whenever I'm in my major class, I feel like I'm the stupidest person in the room. I've joined a fraternity and looked at what my advisor chose for classes and the classes I have left for my major, and I'm terrified. These classes will eat up almost all of my time on campus workload-wise, and I've never been that great at math. So I was wondering what you guys thought. My friend recommended me. Well, I'm not going to recommend English to this guy. Like, no punctuation whatsoever. Recommended me IT as he's in that. I don't know. That sounds interesting. Let me know. Okay. Well, I mean, I say there's kind of two sides to this. My first reaction is he's terrified at the remaining caseload or class load, which is not a great sign considering he has to work in this. He would have to work in this field for the rest of his life. But on the other side, sometimes I've heard a lot of people say that they didn't necessarily enjoy their classes, but once they got through it, the actual work they enjoyed because they got good at it and because it wasn't as theoretical as they could apply it more. And so I don't know if that applies here, but that could be something to consider. But overall, that's kind of a rough situation. It's never a great sign to pick just because of your parents.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind
Yeah.
of a flag because you're never gonna find out who you actually are, and if you're just living the life your parents want to live or want you to live, or just finding what you actually are passionate about, really.
Or if they want you to choose the life that you want to live, and you're like, no, you choose for me.
He also, it sounds like he probably should be good at math to do this, and he's not.
Yeah. Or spelling or writing or anything that you need for college.
Yeah, it's not a great sign. I do feel bad for, like, I've been in this situation. I think a lot of people are, where, like, you do not really feel like you know what you want to do. And I don't really know how many people really do know what they want to do. Like, I don't know, like I think it takes a while.
Yeah, especially when you're not getting paid for it. Like, college is so weird because it's like you're paying people to do work for free. Like, you're working, like you're essentially like doing all this hard work for free. Like, you're paying someone, and like, it's so much easier to do something you don't want to do, or like figure out how to like something when you're getting paid to do it. Like,
right.
Like, then you can start to realize like all the opportunities and benefits of, you know, the work that you're doing. But when you're just like grinding and like semester after semester, it can be really daunting.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel that. Also, I heard this advice from Professor Scott Galloway at NYU, no relation. He's a marketing professor, and he's written a handful of books, and his advice is like not to find what you love to do, but just find something that you become good at, and then you'll love it because you're good at it. And that does make a lot of sense to me, because there's things that my previous job was boring if you described it, where I worked throughout Iowa State. If you described it to someone, it could seem fairly boring, but I got good at it. So I really liked it. And it didn't really matter if it was a boring topic, because I like to do it and I was good at it. So then I think you can learn to really like those things. I don't know if that's a good advice for everybody, but I think it is. It's somewhat valuable.
Oh, it's great advice, I think.
I completely see that. Like, even if you're, say, good at a sport, you might just like it because you're good at it. And like, I think, like, I suck at soccer. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I think I would really like it if I was actually really good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I don't know how long this podcast has been, but I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
I think it was like an hour or less, or like 40 minutes, something like that.
The
It was
limit.
44 minutes, I think.
Oh, nice. Okay, perfect. That's pretty solid. The limit, if you have more than 2 people on the call, it's a 40-minute limit. But if you just have 2 like this, then you have as long as you want.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Yeah, but cool. All right, well, I'm good to call it right here if you guys are.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
That was pretty solid.
That was really fun.
Chill. Yeah, it was fun. We should do it more often.
The OG crew back together. I'm glad we can do this over Zoom. Yeah, we should do it more often. For all the listeners out there, this podcast is now on Spotify, so check it out. Watch out, Joe Rogan. We went to Spotify for a slightly different reason than Joe. We did not get $100 million, unfortunately, but it was.
What? We didn't get $140 million?
We were shooting for it, but we came up a couple million short of that. All right. Peace, world.
Peace.
Peace.